Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Hedera and Hbar. So with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. So we are going to be talking about a lot of things. Listen, the biggest threat in this space right now is what Hedera is doing, what Hbar is becoming. You can clearly see all of the hate coming from all of these other chains, and it's so ridiculous. Now, we're going to go in depth on that, but there was a recent new listing for Hbar from Bank Exchange. Now, for a lot of you out there, you probably don't really know about this exchange. You probably don't even think that it's worth noting, but this is definitely a huge exchange. They have well over 500 and almost 30,000 followers on X, and also they are in the top 25 in terms of the largest exchanges out there. And Bank right now has about roughly $745 million almost in 24-hour trading volume, but also 2.6 million weekly visits. That is a very substantial amount considering the fact that if we look at Coinbase, guys, Coinbase has less than 100,000. And also some of these other top 10 exchanges are hovering right around the same exact amount of weekly visits. But also, like I said, Bank has about roughly almost $745 million in 24-hour trading volume. Guys, Kraken and Qcoin don't even have that. So this is a very large exchange listing Hbar, which is very exciting to see. And yeah, just another great exchange there to add onto the list of many that have Hbar listed, which does provide on and off ramps and also volume for Hbar's trading volume. Now, outside of this as well, I do want to go over here to this post that I did post over on X on the 24th, and I said maxis from all different communities hating on Hbar is the highlight of all of this. Really shows you how big of a threat Hedera is becoming to all these chains that have practically no use case. Now, I did include this in a video talking about BlackRock, right? Because that's what this was alluding to. There has been a lot of discussions around Hbar and Hedera. In fact, I've been seeing a lot of idiotic comments about how Hbar is a scam, Hedera is a scam. And it's crazy that this type of event is what is making Hedera now labeled a scam. Guys, I'm going to say it time and time again. When you look at some of these top 10 projects in the space, you really want to look at a scam? Tell me what they have delivered in the last 3, 5, even 6 years. It's ridiculous. And outside of this, why is Hedera and Hbar becoming one of the biggest threats in this space? Well, it's because of the constant work being done. It's the constant expansions happening. It's what Hedera did during the bear market that we're now witnessing, which is the building, the growth, the marketing, all of that going into Hedera and Hbar to support the ecosystem. Now, one of those big things that we were really kind of focused on is also the GC. When you look at the GC around Hedera, this is also, it's funny because like this actually gets funded on as well. Like everyone is like always like, oh, it's centralized, it's centralized. Guys, the way that Hedera's council works is all of these names are from different industries and from different areas around the world, making it decentralized through that. But these are prominent organizations that pretty much everyone knows. I mean, there's a lot of major names on here that I'm sure that everyone that you probably know pretty much knows. You mentioned Google, everyone knows Google. You mentioned Dell, everyone knows Dell. There's a lot of great names on this list. And what's crazy about it is that this is just a starting point. Like there's going to be a lot more names added to this list. But beyond that, right, it's not just the GC, because the GC does get hated on quite a bit. And I really do think it's because all these names, well, they chose Hedera. They are working with Hedera. A lot of these projects or a lot of these companies are actually building out projects on Hedera. But it's not just that. It's also the real transactions per second. Tell me where Cardano is. Where's ADA at? Because last time I checked, ADA is in the top 10. It has $16 billion worth of value tied to its name. Where's ADA on this list? I can't see it. Oh yeah, that's right, because ADA is doing about roughly 1.6 transactions per second. Like, are you kidding me? Guys, Hedera is averaging about roughly 1,500 plus transactions per second. And month-over-month increase of 50%. So when we really look at HBAR and Hedera, like, it's not even really starting. Like, this hasn't really even ramped up. Remember that Hedera is capable of doing 10,000 transactions per second, and that's throttled. That's not even fully unleashed. We know, because this goes all the way back to 2021, Lehman Bear told us one node on the Hedera network is capable of doing 500,000 transactions per second. One node. We're not even talking about all of them combined, just one. Unlimited transactions per second is achievable on Hedera. Highest security is available through Hedera. Decentralization available through Hedera. The most efficient through Hedera. And not only that, the most sustainable. Guys, this is a major threat to a lot of these projects out there. I don't like to look at it as a threat because obviously it's a multi-chain future that we're gearing up towards, but I do think that a lot of these ghost chains, they're terrified. They're getting scared. But also, it's DeFi. Guys, DeFi on Hedera has been heating up rapidly. And I've taken notice of this. I've talked about it, right? We blossomed well beyond the February 2023 levels. We hit about roughly almost 200 million. We're sitting at about roughly 100 and almost 30 million right now. In HBARs, we're talking about roughly well over, currently speaking, 1.24 billion HBAR in TVL. It is very significant. And also, when we look at Saucer Swap, guys, this has been a DEX that has been growing tremendously. They have been on fire. They continue to grow and grow and grow. And it really just shows you how ahead Hedera is versus majority of the space. And this is only going to continue to grow rapidly because when we look at Hedera, they are putting in so much time, so much effort. There's now a massive amount of builders on Hedera because it's so efficient to build, transact, and work on. I've talked about this in the past, right? If you have transacted with NFTs or just, using a multi-sig, which I've utilized a multi-sig on Hedera already, it is extremely fast. It's extremely efficient. There's nothing like it. I've transacted on Ethereum. Guys, the amount of gas fees that I've paid on Ethereum is ridiculous. It's disgusting to say the least. I've transacted on a lot of chains in this space, and nothing compares to Hedera. Now, outside of this, going back to August, I put out a post on X, and it was bringing the balance sheet of the planet to the public ledger. I'm pretty sure you can come to the conclusion that the public ledger in question is Hedera, and this also proves how big of a deal HBAR is. This is the most sustainable DLT in this space, and it's an absolute game changer. We have here from the HBAR Foundation, Vice President of Sustainability and ESG, we believe in a future where the balance sheet of our planet lives on a public ledger. Back in August, Carbon Base Co. has partnered with HBAR Foundation and Impact X to launch Asia's first digital carbon registry. We believe in the future where the balance sheet of our planet lives on a public ledger. We're excited to see Carbon Base and Impact X adopt the Hedera Guardian to build a digital native registry. GCR will enable digital MRV, streamline project enablement, and improve carbon credit management, unlocking a new era of transparency, trust, and impact in the fight against climate change. And whether or not, you have an opinion on this or not, it doesn't matter, right? The elite organizations are already pushing and pushing and pushing for mandates around this. It is happening. It is becoming a reality. And with that, we need a solution. Hedera is working with all of these major names. When we're talking about tokenization, guys, Hedera is already tokenizing the financial world. They're also tokenizing the, the balance sheet of the world on Hedera. We know this because back in November, they reiterated this. The balance sheet of the planet belongs on DLT. Join us at the Hedera Refi Forum next month at COP28 UAE, the world's largest gathering of nations, enterprises, NGOs, and other global stakeholders collaborating towards a greener future. And guess what we got from that meeting? The United Nations selects the Hbar Foundation and also Envision for blockchain-based carbon data management. Swirls Labs with the Hbar Foundation and also Envision with, of course, the UN climate change. They are scaling climate finance via the Hedera Guardian. Together with the refi ecosystem and leading institutions, we are bringing the balance sheet of the planet to the public ledger. This is tokenizing the balance sheet of the planet on Hedera. So when we're talking about tokenization, this is absolutely massive. It's not just about BlackRock and what BlackRock's doing. No, it's about what are all of these major organizations, these elite organizations, what are they doing? Well, they're working with Hedera. They're working with major players in the space. Ripple is another company that is tapped in with these elites that are working with the BIS. Like, that's what I'm focused on. Because they will pick and choose the big players. Hedera is a massive one. Hedera continues to become a major threat because if you look at what they're doing and how fast they are expanding, I would be worried too. Especially if, my chain, my network was a work in progress for the last roughly 5-6 years. And then I also have, individuals going out there and funding on a project like Hedera that work on my network. Like, yeah, I would definitely be concerned about Hedera. And if you guys didn't know what I was talking about Cardano. There's a lot of ADA maxis out there that absolutely hate Hedera, and it's because of the transactions per second that ADA is putting out, and also the amount of substance that Cardano actually even has on it. I'm not trying to compare and contrast here, but Hedera's years and years ahead. It's just like how they were going to bank Africa. Hedera's already trying to do that. In fact, Hedera's already doing that with MTech. Now, also over here, we have some blockchains are green, others carbon negative, but one is bringing the balance sheet of the planet to the public ledger. Big shout out to Zepsi. Sustainability on Hedera goes far beyond minimal emissions. The open source Guardian is adopted by Fortune 500s and actively scaling the refi markets. And here we have Hedera is the greenest proof of stake network. And yeah, it's greener than Visa. I mean, when you have something that's greener than Visa, which by the way, big shout out to Algorand as well. Algorand is a huge player. But Hedera is the most sustainable, 9,000 times less energy than Ethereum 2.0. And by the way, this is because during this event at World Economic Forum 2023, DLT offers unprecedented opportunities to effectively and efficiently drive sustainability. With the Now platform built on Hedera, ServiceNow is streamlining climate and ESG accounting through easily comparable, automated, tamper-proof reporting. And remember that ServiceNow services 80% of the Fortune 500s. We have down here over COP 2027, Hbar Foundation, Hedera, and Hub Culture hosted the Regenerative Finance Forum. Throughout the week, we heard from projects building in the refi ecosystem. Guys, this is back in 2023, the start of 2023. This was confirmation of just how big Hedera was going to be in the refi space, in the carbon credit space, and just in the sustainability space. Like climate and ESG innovation at Hedera has been ramping up. And it's all to accommodate what Fortune 500s and enterprises need because they have mandates put on them. Whether or not you care or not, it doesn't matter. Like these are enterprises that have mandates put on them to be sustainable, to provide, insights on what they're doing to be carbon negative or even neutral. Now, outside of this, a few announcements recently, 4 of them specifically, is this leveraging the Hedera Guardian to bring carbon forwards on chain as RWAs. Again, tokenization. For Earth Week, see the work of Mycohab. and also Evercity Eco, and their partners Hedera Governing Council member, SB Group, and MIT's Label-Free Research Group inside the Center for Bits and Atoms. And if you actually look at this, right, this is 300. Let me reiterate this, guys. 300 million tons of biomass every 15 years to mitigate environmental issues. Alongside this, there is a desperate need to home the 25% of Namibians that are homeless or living in informal settlements. Now, when we look at what's going on here, this is governments, major government entities that are working with Hedera, with, of course, the United Nations, to provide a full-on solution around carbon credits, carbon forwards. I mean, this is a game changer. This is a game changer around the world. It's not just, oh, hey, they're working with BlackRock and they're working with this financial company. No, like this is entire governments being disrupted and revolutionized through Hedera technology. And also, Dovu official is helping scale climate finance from billions of dollars to trillions via RWAs on the Hedera Guardian. Like this is all through the Hedera Guardian, and this is all through RWAs and tokenization. And these are players that have been expanding for years. I've been following Dovu for well over like now 2-3 years almost. And outside of this, EDF official, one of the largest players in the energy space. France's state-owned energy supplier and Hedera Governing Council member, EDF official, is building multiple RWA use cases on the Hedera Guardian. It's a game changer, guys. When we look at how big Hedera is in the real world, this is very substantial. And outside of that, we also have 500 million metric tons of carbon credits being onboarded to the Hedera Guardian as on-chain RWAs. One team. And that's Alcott Group with the Interwork Alliance. Guys, when we look at what Hedera is becoming, what they are currently, it's shocking that more and more people are not aware of how big HBAR will be. I get it. In the short term, things are rough. You have announcements that everyone has to blow out of proportion. It causes the price to skyrocket and then crash. You have all this FUD around Hedera calling it a scam, calling HBAR a scam. Oh, HBAR is not doing what I want it to do. But at the end of the day, guys, there's only 50 billion HBAR. And to some people, that billion might seem crazy. Oh, there's 50 billion HBAR? Imagine there only being $50 billion in the world. That's the best way that I can describe how big Hedera will be and why the supply does not matter. If there's only $50 billion, the US dollar is the only currency. There's only 50 billion US dollars out in circulation. All right. And there's only ever going to be 50 billion. Imagine how much of those 50 billion, right, US dollars are lost. Maybe they, got ripped up. They got destroyed. How many people are using it? How many people are saving it? How many people are locking it up in, savings account or investments? Like, that's the significance of HBAR, right? Because you have 50 billion of it, but you have all of these use cases demanding HBAR on the network, right? Because HBARs are network fees. You also have people staking HBAR, all right? You have so many use cases that are demanding HBAR, like NFTs, tokenization. The list goes on and on and on. How many people are locking up HBAR in terms of staking mechanisms or even utilizing it on DEXs or putting it in liquidity pools on SaucerSwap? Like, this is what I look at, right? Like, you might look at 50 billion and say, oh, that's so much. But when you put it into an example where you have a fiat currency and there's only 50 billion out there, there's never going to be any more, and you have so much usage for it, what do you think happens? Well, now one of those dollars are worth a lot more. And it's the same thing that goes with HBAR. There's a lot of demand growing for HBAR. The network is growing significantly. DeFi is growing significantly. There's expansions happening every single damn day. This is why I say Hedera and HBAR are becoming the biggest threat to this space right now. And it's all because of the work that has been put in the last 3 years. I've watched Hedera blossom into this absolute giant in front of us. And it's just crazy to me that HBAR is still at the price that it is. I look at it as an opportunity in disguise because a lot of people are frustrated with it. A lot of people are upset about it. And I could easily be upset about it, but I look at it as an opportunity. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on. If you guys want more free content, you guys more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.